Everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Soundcraft Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson Zia Missing, available on Amazon in paperback, coming soon, Missing 2 by Mia Molson Zia. Double the suspense, double the fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also, Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Sweet Summits by Serena Wagner, based on the life of King David, including 30 exquisite paintings in King David Psalms. You can check it out on Amazon.com. Keyword Sweet Summits, Serena Wagner. We're here with the amazing experienced speaker, author, educator, position himself as an authority on investing in alternative assets and building wealth using self-directed IRA accounts. We'll talk about a unique experience on that. He has a 20-year career in entrepreneurship and investing with a mission, basically to help people on a higher level of financial literacy. He's got a new book out, which is a guide to get started investing in an asset class backed by collateral instead of a lender and becoming a bank. And it's called The Little Green Book of Note Investing. We'll talk more about that. Live, ladies and gentlemen, at Plus Studios in beautiful downtown Philadelphia, the experienced speaker, author, educator, position himself as an authority on investigating. Talk about the Little Green Book of Note Investing, which is a practical guide for getting started with investing in mortgage notes. Ladies and gentlemen, multi-ton Fred Moskowitz. Fred, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Mike. It's great to be here.
Well, it's great to have you on board, Fred. You're an experienced speaker, author, educator, position himself as an authority on investigating in alternative assets, building wealth using self-directed IRA accounts. You have a 20-year career in entrepreneurship and investing with a mission to help people on a higher level of financial literacy. You have a new book, which is a guide on how to get started investing in an asset class backed by collateral instead of a lender and becoming a bank itself. And the book is called The Little Green Book of Investing. So before I get on, Fred, tell us how I first got started.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mike. I first got started in investing a long time ago. I had a very long and successful career working as a computer engineer in the tech industry,
Oh, wow.
right?
Amazing.
Yeah. And so I spent a lot of time working at different technology companies, startup companies. And what happened was I watched my entire industry get flipped upside down because we went through that dot-com boom.
Oh, yes,
And then
yes.
that was followed by the bursting of the dot-com bubble. And around the same time, we had the September 11th terrorist attacks. And so all this turmoil in the world, all of this uncertainty,
Oh,
and the
wow.
tech industry was in a huge downturn at that time. And so what this made me realize was that I was taking on this huge risk because I was relying on my paycheck as my only source of income,
Mm, okay.
right? And I learned that no matter how good of an engineer I was or how valuable of an employee I was, that if things weren't going well at the company or in the industry, I could quickly lose my job through no fault of my own, right? And so think about that. It was this huge risk because my paycheck was my only income source. Have you ever stopped to think how risky is your paycheck, right? And
Something that's what everybody's going through these days. And I've actually talked to some people on the program, off the program, on social media, and also being in person. That many are comfortable with their careers, they love what they do, but the expenses, including insurance, keeps rising and rising and rising, and people are not getting ahead. So I completely understand what you're saying.
yeah, yeah. So this is what got me interested in diversifying my income and finding other sources of income so that I could achieve that diversity. And with that, I turned to investing and alternative assets, which means investing in things that are outside of the stock market and decoupled from the stock market. And when you own assets and invest in assets, you control them and they generate income and cash flow for you. So all along the way, whatever you're doing in life, you're getting paid while you wait. And this doesn't happen when you invest in a stock market and different Wall Street products. You don't get paid while you wait. You only get paid at the end when you sell the asset.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so,
Like when the bell goes off, like, was it 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern, the bell goes off?
yeah. So what about adding to that type of investing in the alternative space where maybe you own some rental properties, maybe you own some mortgage notes, you own other assets, they're hard assets, and they hold their value, they're backed by collateral, and they generate income for you. And so that's what got me really interested in investing, because over the years I was able to build up many sources of income coming from different investments.
Now we involved like in real estate itself, like purchasing real estate or being a landlord and everything like that. We are also into like flipping houses. That was a thing back in the day. Let's say
Yeah.
I buy a rundown house in Philadelphia, say where Rocky used to live, like 100,000. You get a team to flip it, and then you sell for like 500,000. We involved in that type or
So I've been involved in many different real estate, mostly has been holding for rentals, so not doing too much of the flipping strategy. I know a lot of investors that do that and they like that and that's what they do. But I was more drawn to the income stream, and so I focused on those types of assets. But there's so many ways to invest out there, and it's not like you could say there's a right or wrong answer, because for each individual, you got to look at the circumstances. You got to take into account your timing and risk tolerance and see, is this a good fit for you? Because what might work for you, I may look at and say, you know what, that's nice and looks profitable, but it's not going to fit into my lifestyle or what I my risk tolerance, and it's not going to be a good match. And so that's the important thing, is to learn and consider and see what's going to work for you, because there's so many different strategies and nuances out there.
And of course, speaking of strategies, and the one that has never been mentioned in the media for a long time is the note. And what is the note? We'll find more about with Fred Moskowitz in the Little Green Book of Note Investing. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SonicWeb Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, one target, where truth is illusion and those who love you first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has got great reviews. An Evil Evidence endorsed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassie, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for Girls Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, Mike Wagner's show is brought to you by Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of King David, with 30 exquisite paintings in King David Psalms. And Sweet Psalmist gives a perspective on David through the Psalms he wrote his time as a shepherd, and where it started, his complicated yet turbulent relationship with King Saul. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, hope, and more. Check out the Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com. 40 podcast platforms, 100 countries. Take us with you on any mobile device. Also, check out, subscribe on Spreaker, Spotify, YouTube, Anchor. Also, follow us on all the socials for great gift ideas. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies. Make great gift 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles, plus many great gifts on Amazon, and support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. We're here with the amazing, experienced speaker, author, educator, physician himself, and the authority on investigating in alternative assets, Fred Moskowitz, here on the Mike Wagner Show, and the book, The Little Green Book of note investing. And before getting all that, first of all, let's get to the bottom line of this. What is a note?
So a note refers to the term a promissory note. And when you invest in notes, what you're doing is buying debt. And I'll tell you something, in our business, in our industry, it's called the paper, right? And so you can invest when it comes to real estate, you can invest in so many different ways, right? You got single family houses, commercial properties, multifamily, even vacation properties that people rent out as short-term rentals. But what if we talk about investing in the paper? And what that is the notes and mortgages associated with all of those properties. If you think about it, the majority of real estate in the US is purchased with some kind of financing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that financing, it gets originated by banks and lenders, but then very soon after it gets created, they turn around and sell it on the secondary market.
Like say it goes
And
to lending companies, the third party financials, like say with what Lending Tree, Quicken Loans, and all that.
they create the mortgages and then they turn around and resell it. And so this is a very interesting part of the real estate business. And what I found is a lot of real estate investors, they don't pay any attention to it. Most real estate investors, they're focused on the property. And when they think about a note and a mortgage, they think about it from the perspective of being the borrower and not as being the lender. But what if through note investing, we're able to step across the aisle and become the bank? And when you do that, you transition from being the one making the monthly payments to being the one receiving the monthly payments. And that's how you build that cash flow and income. And it's a great way to have predictable cash flow into your portfolio, into your own economy that you control.
Hmm. Yeah, I was thinking about the whole thing with note investing. You hear about, the mainstream way of buying a home. You go to a bank, you go to a real estate agent, you process the paperwork, the house is yours, you pay up and everything. And of course, you can invest in many ways, like with IRAs. And of course, you also have some other assets like gold, silver, and other properties. But the notes have hardly ever been mentioned in the mainstream media, it seems like.
Yeah, it doesn't get mentioned a lot. It really doesn't. It's a niche area of investing, but it's alive and well. And I'll tell you what, Mike, most people that have bought a property in their life and used financing to purchase it have experienced this where you take out a mortgage, either you buying a property or you're refinancing, you go and sign all the loan documents at closing, you do all of that, and then you go home, right? Well, wouldn't you know, within 3 to 6 months, you get that letter from the bank saying, Dear Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, we're writing to inform you that your loan has been sold. And
Oh,
here is the contact information of the new lender. And starting next month, please make your payments sent to the new lender moving forward.
now
And
has this been common lately? It seems like, or is it just a regular practice?
it's a regular practice.
Oh
All
wow.
always. It's always like this. Yeah. And so most people have experienced this. Um, Loans get sold many times over. So even though you may live in that property for 10, 15, 20 years, during that time of ownership, your loan will get sold and transferred multiple times.
And why is that?
Well, there's a whole secondary market where debt is traded. It's bought and sold every day. And so, why do loans get sold? The main reason is because the owner of the debt needs to recapitalize. Maybe they've set up a mortgage backed security that is closing down because it's reached the end date. Maybe the investor that owns the loan is looking to get into a new transaction and they need to raise capital and liquidity. And so they sell off assets to raise money. This happens all the time, and it's a standard practice in the industry.
And also, there's also other alternatives, not relying on your paycheck or your Social Security or any investments and all that. You can also do like with IRA, self-directed, and also the health savings accounts. That's been a big thing lately.
Yeah, I love health savings accounts. It's a great strategy. There's a tax strategy to it, and it allows you to invest the money, and you control that. And so it works very similar to an IRA or retirement account. And when it comes to note investing, a lot of investors I speak with, um, I always tell them, have you thought about using retirement account funds to invest in notes? You can do that. It's possible to do it. There's a strategy for it. I actually cover this in my book. There's two chapters specifically dedicated to how to invest in notes using retirement account funds. And so it's a great strategy because let's face it, it's a great source of capital. A lot of folks um, have a 401k from your work, right? From your employer. Maybe you change jobs, and a lot of people are faced with the option. Do I move the money? Do I leave it with the old employer? Well, guess what? That's your money. You save that, and so you can move that to wherever you want. You don't have to leave it at the prior employer that had the plan. That's an option, but know that you're getting charged fees, and it's it's eating away at the account when you're doing that. So it's something to look at. But having retirement account capital and access to that, it's a great strategy to use together with note investing.
And how about the timeshares as well, too? Is that also recommended? The time.
Timeshares, I'm not too familiar um, with that at all, so I'm not going to make any remarks.
Okay, we just want to double check because you talk about vacation homes, properties, timeshares. We're also connected as well too, and there's also other forms of property or just even plain land that you see out there.
Yeah. Yeah, land. A lot of I know investors that focus on investing in land, r- raw land that's undeveloped.
And also the note just goes way back. That's almost like the first piece of investing. It's not IRAs, it's not healthcare, gold, silver, and all that. The note just goes way back. And you have a really good history about that one.
Yeah, there's yeah, you can go into your county courthouse and research your title history on any property, whether it's yours or any property at all. That is in the public record. And so land deeds and liens as well, mortgages, those are all recorded in the public record, and anyone can go and review that. And so if you're ever curious, you can go and research the ownership history of your property, your home, and it'll show all the past owners dating back, as long as the county has records for it.
And certainly does as well too. And how about some other strategies that you recommend besides the note?
Well, I like in general the idea of investing in assets. It can be real estate, it can be owning a small business, whether it's a business that you're involved in or not. You can still be an owner or partner owner of a business. You can own debt, which is what we're talking about here with note investing. And so there's so many strategies. You invest in rights and royalties, right? Some of these books you're talking about earlier that are your sponsors, those books are sold on Amazon. There's digital product,
hmm
and there's royalties associated with that. And so that's something that if you have knowledge and skills, you can write a book and then sell that. and you're entitled to receive a share of the proceeds through the royalties. So there's so many different ways. Another thing that's popular is creating courses,
Yes, that's
digital
been a
courses
big one for a
online.
long time. I consider that
Yeah.
myself, taking one. And of course, you can be your own teacher as well.
No, absolutely. So there's so many different great strategies out there for diversifying your income.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
And
love that.
and certainly did as well too. And what's more to that little green book of note investing with Fred Moskowitz? We'll find out just 1 minute. You're listening to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Studios. Brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson's Missing. Also brought to you by the Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of King David. Now on Amazon, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. We'll be back with author Fred Moskowitz of the Little Green Book of Note Investing after this time out. We're back with author Fred Moskowitz of the Little Green Book of Note Investing, a practical guide to getting started with investing in mortgage notes here on the Mike Wagner Show. And just a couple more things about the book. What do you want readers to get from the book as well?
Well, a lot of readers approach the book wanting to learn, hey, I like the idea about note investing. How do I get started? Right? How does someone get started? Someone that's not familiar with this industry, they're new. Well, there's two ways to get involved in note investing. And it, it really comes down to thinking about how much time do you have? Because you can be an active note investor or passive. And I'll break that down. Being an active note investor is where you're hands on. You're finding notes to buy, you're acquiring them, you're building up a portfolio and managing that. You're doing a lot of the hands on work, the research, the due diligence. You're building relationships with sellers of notes. And then you're managing that portfolio over time. That's a lot of work. It's hands on. And for someone that has a lot of time, it's a great option. Well, what about if you don't have a lot of time? Some people may say, hey, focused on career professional, focused on my employment, the work that I do, or I'm a business owner, I'm focused on my business. I don't have a lot of time. How can I get involved in mortgage notes? Well, you can be a passive investor. That's another way where you are investing in a note fund that's professionally managed by the fund managers, and they do a lot of that heavy lifting. They take care of finding notes to buy, building the portfolio, doing the research, the due diligence. And so for the investors, it's a great way for them to use leverage because they get to leverage the experience and the expertise and the skill sets of the fund managers, as well as the access to notes, right? The relationships they have, they're leveraging relationships. And so when they do that, they invest in a note fund and receive a rate of return. And it's truly a passive investment because there's not any work to do. It's really hands off. And so
Mm-hmm.
those are the distinctions.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned about the rate of return. Everybody's talking about the rate of return on their investments, stocks, bonds, dividends, and everything like that. What's the current
Mhm.
rate going on with the notes these days?
Well, that depends, right? It depends on how much risk are you comfortable with. And so if you were buying a super safe note, I'll give you some ranges just to give you some context. If you were to buy a super safe note that's low risk, then you might be looking at 5 or 6% rate of return.
Oh, nice.
And if you're willing to take on more risk with dealing with some different problems, or maybe you want to note that's not on residential property, but commercial property, and some different nuances there, or notes that are originated for real estate investors, they're more risk. And so you can get into really what I call above average returns that are 9, 10, 11, 12%. You're getting into double digits. And so if you're comfortable with taking on more risk, then you can earn a higher rate of return. But I always say, you know, if you're starting out, this is new for you, don't take on risk. Start with a low risk, get your feet wet, get comfortable, and then over time, as your expertise expands and your experience, then you can branch out in some other areas.
An example of low risk notes.
Single family homes, owner occupied, that have a good track record. They're located in a solid real estate market where the property values are holding and not fluctuating, right? On the other extreme of that, what about buying a property located in a rural area, or maybe the borrower has a questionable credit history, or it's a commercial property like a restaurant or something like that. See how it changes the colors of the whole scenario when I talk about some of these things. And that's it's all out there. It's all available. And so you pick and choose what you're comfortable with.
Mhm. And what's the minimum that's required to put down to take on a note?
There is no minimum. It's whatever it's based on the loan balance. Um, it's based on the loan balance, which could be, I've seen notes as small as 4,000 all the way up to million plus
Oh, wow.
on some, yeah, large mansions, large, they call jumbo loans in the mortgage industry. They
Hmm.
all exist and everything in between, right? And then when it comes to mortgage note funds, there's all different minimums. You have to look at each fund and see what their specific requirements are. But I've seen funds, most common is going to be 25,000, 50,000 as a minimum. And I've seen other funds that have a minimum of 100,000 or 250,000
Oh,
even.
wow.
Yeah, so there's a whole range. So what's important for you as the investor is to learn about that and see what options are out there and having those conversations so you can see what's going to be a good fit.
Hmm. And what about some of the other do's and don'ts when it comes to note investing?
Well, don't get started without having some basic education, right? Read some of the books out there. Uh, Look online. There's different information available online, but get started and get mentorship. Get in touch with someone that's active in the business and start learning, start having some conversations, start building some relationships. That's super important.
Hmm. And lastly, I'm going to throw this question out there. How is the real estate market as we speak, from your perspective?
Well, in it's still strong. There's high demand for real estate, and I would say properties that are well maintained and in a good location, which is desirable where people want to live, properties sell fairly quickly if they're priced fairly. And so I love real estate in general as an investment. I think it's a solid asset class. It has to be managed well in order to produce good income or managed and maintained if it's your primary residence. If you don't maintain your property, then the value of it is not going to be its highest and best, right? And so you want to take care of your home because when you go to sell it, that's going to be taken into account in the valuation is how well maintained is it.
Hmm. And that's very important as well. And where can we find your book, the Little Green Book of No Investing at?
Yeah, thank you. It's available on Amazon.com. You can search for it by name. It should come right up.
Okay. And how about your website?
Yeah, my website for anyone that wants to get in touch with me, you can connect with me by going to fredmoskowitz.com. And if you prefer a little bit of an easier spelling, you can visit giftfromfred.com. It'll take you right to my website. And I have a special gift I'd like to offer for all listeners out there. At my website, you can sign up to receive and request a special report that I've prepared all about note investing. Happy to email that out to anyone that would like it. Just visit giftfromfred.com, put in your information, and we'll email that right out to you.
All right, we'll certainly do it as well. We're with author Fred Moskowitz of the Little Green Book of Note Investing here on the Mike Winter Show. Just a few more things, Fred. What else can we expect in 2025 and beyond?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's shaping up to be an interesting year. A lot of activity in the economy, a lot of activity with the new presidential administration coming in, a lot of changes I'm expecting to see, but also opportunities always out there in investing for everyone. And the most important thing is to get educated, to get good relationships around you, and see what opportunities are out there, see what fits for you that you can get involved in and start looking at ways to grow wealth and build cash flow.
And that's very important indeed, coming around that time too. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
There's so many, so many. I'll tell you what, one of my favorite influences for me, um, since I'm someone from Philadelphia, I'd like to uh, refer back to one of our founding fathers of this country, Benjamin Franklin, who had this wonderful quote, which I really love. And he said this: an investment in knowledge always pays the highest dividends. And I love that message because it reminds us always invest in yourself. Invest in yourself and your knowledge and your skills, because that's going to allow you to grow and expand both financially and life as a person on so many levels. And your knowledge and skills are something that no one can ever take away from you.
And that is the key to everything. I gotta say that. Thank you, Benny. That's the key to everything. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
The best advice would be to uh, pay attention to the people around you and put yourself around people that are playing the game of life at a higher level. And that's going to bring you up as well.
I think that's a really good point. I like that too, going to New York. We're here with author Fred Moskowitz of the Little Green Book of Note Investing here on the Mike Wagner Show, a practical guide for the getting started investigating mortgage notes. Fred, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learned a lot. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep yourself up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. Once again, what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your book?
Yep. The book is called The Little Green Book of Note Investing. It's available on Amazon. And my website is fredmoskowitz.com, or for an easier spelling, it's giftfromfred.com. Go right to the website. Always love connecting with people interested in investing and building relationships. It's a big part of what we do.
And certainly, indeed, as well, we encourage everybody to do so. Once again, Fred, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to it soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. We wish you all the best. And Fred, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Thank you.